Hey everybody, Mr. Berthiaume here. Welcome to up near Lassen National Forest, Lassen National Park. We're on private land checking out a real live logging operation. So we're going to show you some pictures, well, some video of how logging really works. I'm up here with a bunch of teachers and we're trying to figure out is logging sustainable and what kind of operations really happen here. So I'm going to just show you some video as we go. I hope you enjoy it. It's pretty wild stuff what's happening up here. Cutting trees, making wood products. Hope you're enjoying your summer. All right, so you got lots of different machines here on this logging operation. This guy to the left is obviously picking up the logs and placing them in a spot where when the truck comes up, the logging truck, he'll back up right here and then they'll stack the logs. So they're stacking the logs right here, getting ready to put them on the logging truck when that comes. And notice there's two piles here. The big pile is pine and there's a smaller pile here of cedar. So they separate out so when they get to the truck, they can put cedar on one truck and pine on the other. All right, this guy right here is everybody's favorite tool. Check this thing out. It picks up the tree and one piece of that, it's getting a little dusty here, but you'll see one piece takes off all the branches, cuts it perfectly to size with a little saw, bing bang. So the other guy can pick it up and put it right on the logging pile for the logging truck. It's the perfect length. Isn't that amazing? Then it takes the top of the tree and puts it to the back into a different pile where that skidder will deal with it. And then it's going to grab another log and do the same thing. This used to be all done by hand, obviously very dangerous job by hand with chainsaws and a very tedious, long process. So this speeds up the process a lot. Automated system. Pretty wild. This bulldozer contraption is called a skidder. What that skidder is doing is taking up all of those branches that were taken off by that other machine and putting it all into a big pile. And then you can see it's got another kind of a cherry picker thing, which will pick up that pile of brush and move it out of the way. And this pile of brush will either be burned on site or it'll be taken to a power plant where it'll be burned for energy. So it'll be burned to boil water to make steam, to drive a turbine, to generate electricity. Usually that works at a sawmill. So it'll be hauled to the sawmill and this stuff will actually power the sawmill. So fairly clean energy, obviously some carbon emissions there, but certainly not as bad as coal or other fossil fuels. Quite an operation here, these three guys. So folks, this is what we call even age logging, even age timber harvesting, also known as, of course, the dreaded clear cut. But from what I'm learning up here, clear cutting is not as bad as we may have thought it to be. First of all, it provides, if we're talking about wildlife habitat, it provides new habitat for open area species and edge species. Those are species that like to live and forage and eat and survive on the edge of the forest. So we create new habitats by this method. So another thing that's not often known about clear cutting is that the companies are required to come in and plant saplings within a certain time frame to get established the forest again. And of course the lumber companies have no problem with that, because as soon as the sooner they get these trees planted, the sooner they'll grow up again and can be harvested. So this tree here is about 3 years old. You can tell by the whorls. Every year it brings out a whorl. So there's one whorl, two whorls. This is the new growth from this year. So it's a 3-year-old sapling. So they come in here and plant. they also leave little islands. You can see an island out here of trees for wildlife habitat. So this looks kind of like a devastated landscape. There's no doubt about that, right? We came in here, we cut all the trees down and hauled everything out, left some stuff on the ground for wildlife habitat and to compost back into the soil. But if we look over here, this stand was clear cut, just like this one, but that was done about 7 years ago. So they came in and clear cut and then planted. So these trees that you see here are about 7 years old. So suddenly we're starting to see the forest regenerate, right, in only a few years. And if we move over here, we see what they'd call a mature forest. And these trees are between 70 and 100 years old. So these guys are ready to harvest. So the plan would be to come in and harvest these at some point. It would look like this. Right after, we'd come in and plant new seedlings. And in just a few years, you start to see the forest regenerate. So that's clear cutting in a very small nutshell. Certainly opened my eyes this week to what a clear cutting operation looks like, and frankly changed my views a little bit about how bad it really is. And when I think about comparing the natural resources we get from wood and what it takes to produce wood, and the ecological consequences of cutting down wood, cutting down the forest, versus where else are we going to get these resources from? Plastic, what does it take to make plastic? Or metal, what does it take to mine metal and smelt metal? All of these processes affect the environment. All these processes cost money. All these processes provide jobs. So you have to analyze the whole situation before you start coming in here and saying, clear cutting's bad, man. We can't cut down any trees. Okay. Are you writing that with a pencil? Okay, what is that pencil made of, right? Okay, everybody. Talk to you later.